Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Matt. Today I wanted to talk about patience in language learning and why it's really important. It's just something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily talk about because it's just a boring subject, right? People would rather sell you, a free audiobook to get fluent in 10 minutes, okay? But here's the reality with patience, okay? It's very important to at least just have that awareness in the back of your mind and to try to be more patient as you go about learning a language. And the biggest reason why is that if your goal is to be fluent or very competent in a language, it's just gonna take a long time, right? It's gonna take some hours. And even just getting to that next level, it's definitely gonna take some time, right? And if you're aware of that, it's gonna help inform you to make the right decisions and to change things up a little bit. So I think the first thing is that if you're aware that you need to be patient because things take time, you really are gonna start to realize that you need to have fun while learning a language. Because if that goal is indeed being fluent, you really don't want to spend all of that time in a state where things are incredibly boring. It's just this hardcore resistance every time you sit down to learn a language, right? And of course, there's going to be parts that are not very fun, but the sooner you can start incorporating fun things in your process, the better. Because rather than having to have this patience with this really grueling task, it just makes it a lot easier to be patient, right? Because you're having fun while doing it. And like I said, even though there's going to be times where you're going to be doing something that's not necessarily fun or you're not feeling it one day, generally speaking, you want to be having fun, right? And so you should be incorporating those things in your process, whether that's playing video games in a foreign language, whether that's watching movies or shows, maybe that's reading a fiction book, whatever it is. Make sure to have those fun activities in because it's going to be helpful to building that patience for the long term. I think the other thing too is that because you're in it for the longer term, it's important to really have those goals and to have those benchmarks about where you're going, right? Because if you're patient, you know that progress is going to take a while. And so to help you with that, I think it's important to at least set those goals and be cognizant of where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, it's going to be very tough to just know when to move on to the next language or when to move on to the next kind of method for learning a language. I think it's very important. And like I said, if you have not only fun activities, but goals in there about how much activity you should be doing every single week, where you want to be a month from now, or a year from now, or whatever, it helps to bring context to your actions, right? It doesn't just seem like this kind of, super long journey with no end, or when am I going to get fluent, right? You have these goals about how to get there, and you know when you're going to get there, and it helps to be more patient, right? I think that's very important. And I think the other thing too is just enjoy the journey, right? Don't worry about having a certain level of competency in the language. Really enjoy the process. Enjoy the process. It's so important because it takes a long time. And so, enjoy the process of not understanding, of not being super fluent and making mistakes. You want to just be one with the process because it's just like I said, that patience concept is so critical. And I think if you think about all these concepts, patience makes a lot of sense of why people say that, why you should be patient in language learning. Eventually you will get to where you want to go if you put in that time. Just have the patience, keep doing things, build that habit, and eventually you'll get there. So let me know what you think. Are you struggling with patience in language learning? Leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.